As a child, I pretty much grew up on the street and raised myself in the east side of San Jose. And basically, as a single child, I was just allowed to kind of run free and crazy. So I had parents that had some mental health issues. So the escape and the freedom for me was.
You said, I left behind what I was. I left what I was behind. I want you to show to people how you managed to.
It's more of how you come to the person that you are and your business and how you represent it, but remembering the experiences you have to take that from the street to bring that in here. Well, hey, I'm Nicole Borghi. I'm known as the Digital Diva, and I really work with clients to kind of stand out and shine on virtual stages and summit. It's really important for me to allow people to share their message and their story to the world, and I think that's part of the momentum to change the world one stage at a time.
All right, that's lovely. Changing the world one stage at a time. That is really very lovely. I love that. Nicole, you see, we spent a lot of time talking about the individual, which is you, therefore, here today. We will be having the privilege to learn about you. This is actually what we love to do, to learn about the people. Then, of course, we move into what the people do later. So, could you tell me a little bit about yourself? Where are you coming from?
Where am I coming from? So my background really is probably there's separate levels with that. As a child, I pretty much grew up on the street and raised myself in the east side of San Jose. And basically, as a single child, I was just allowed to kind of run free and crazy. So I had parents that had some mental health issues. So the escape and the freedom for me was better to live on the street, and it was a healthier way, whether it was, getting it in with gangs or going through parties and just really seeing that change. Thinking that was the way was life. I thought maybe as a kid, you really don't kind of fathom the adultness or the change. I mean, in the society or the culture where I'm from, it's basically in California was basically we didn't really honor a lot of the adults or family or the strength or any community. So I was just running wild in San Jose. But really, going back to college or sending myself back to school in law enforcement and security, and sharing that, it was, hey, how do I take this that I know of the street and the people that I'm used to and kind of pivot it and maybe help the community, be a first responder, help people. But, again, I was, it was more of a physical means and how now can I change as an adult, change who I am and change with the people around me and offer a solution for that. And that was really pivoting to allowing people to listening to stories and telling stories and getting on a stage and saying, hey, how do we solve this and find the solution? And that's how I got into for a cause marketing, really is finding a cause and sharing a solution, because everybody's triggered all the time. Then what do we do? Everybody's angry, and how do we fix that? It's more of finding the solution, and that's where that kind of fell back into the cycle of my childhood is, how do I solve that problem? How do I fix that?
That is powerful. And I think that is at the centerpiece of what you do, that place where you are coming from. Because what happened to us is what actually formed us at the end of the day. It gives us the reality, and we become mature, we become being able to shape the world that is around us. If nothing happens to us, we will just become children all our life. We don't want to become children. We want to live. To live means to experience things. So I want to believe that what have happened to you that allow you to be able to grow up on the street, give you the privilege to become who you are today. Sometimes some people say, okay, this happened to me. Wait, calm down. If nothing happened to you, you are a child. Because when you are a child, you are on the bed, you are on the cot, no? But as an adult, something need to happen to you. But that which happens to you will form you. You become somebody. That it becomes your story. Now, I have a question for you, Nicole. Um, what would you say you take away from the streets?
It's really, and I see that the more people that I interact with in business, and everybody says the hustle, right? It's the daily hustle, the daily grind, and it is a hustle. I mean, people had, even the local drug dealer on the street or whatever, he had that hustle, he had that ability to really change the life of people because he could talk, he could communicate, he could sell. He was a great seller. And seeing that when you go into sales and branding and marketing is, you see some of these people take that hustle and turn it around. People who don't have experience can't talk to people. How do you talk somebody out of jumping off a 30-foot, 30 feet up on a building? That's a bit hard to do, having to go out there and say, and have a conversation. Can you do that? Have you done that? I've done that with my partners. Thank goodness I had great partners with me, but talking someone on a casino that just lost a couple $1 million off a ledge before someone else, the local police officers could come in and bring that person back. And then realizing, because when I went into business, I was told, and by coaches, a bad tip here is that don't be that way. Leave that hustle. You have to, shower, brush your hair, get a suit on and change who you are. And you got to leave that street behind you. But it's more of how you articulate. It's more of how you come to the person that you are and your business and how you represent it. But remembering the experiences you have to take that from the street to bring that in here. How do you talk to people and tell stories? I mean, I work with a nonprofit called Confronting Domestic Violence, and it's really the ability to allow people to tell their stories and understand their pain, but not keep them in the fear and pain, but share that post-traumatic growth. And that pivot, coming back to that, is really taking the strength and the dedication and the mission and bringing that into business and saying, okay, there's a focus. I mean, even the mob used to run Las Vegas, taking the fact that they had the suits, they did the hair, they took care of their community. They took care of one another. Their streets were clean. Everybody had money. People were fed. Now it's a corporate structure in Las Vegas. And you look at that and say, hey, let's go back to the street. Let's go back to the mob and look at that hierarchy in the chain of command and bring maybe some type of military structure, which the mob have. Gangs have great structure. I learned that on the street. And realizing how that works and how it coincides, right? It's kind of like in law enforcement where you read somebody's body language. Well, if you're a healer or you want somebody to come to the moment where maybe they have the light or they're divinely guided, you understand their body language when they're sad or when they lean forward or when they stand up straight. You understand the difference of where they're at, and taking all that and blending it together and just realizing as you pivot and flip the script, it's really just what we call it. It's all the same thing. It's just how we talk about it to one another and how we communicate everything, and then bringing all that together in a nice package. And now I can deliver it onto the stage.
Is how we call it. So a couple of days ago, I was talking with a psychotherapy friend of mine here in Italy, because we were going to do an episode, which happened to be an intense episode, more than 3 hours conversation, talking about mask, wearing of mask. What does it mean? So in the conversation, of course, she couldn't make it because she was occupied with other things. She couldn't make it. She was supposed to be in this combined episode. Then later, when it finished, I sent it to her to watch, and she told me it was really too intense. I said maybe it was too touching to people because the guests that came in really opened up in a way that it became painful to listen to the conversation. So then we went on to talk a lot about how much are we really supposed to go talking about what have happened to us? And because now we don't want to talk about all of them. At least some people don't want to talk about some of them because it hurts, because when you go to touch some part of your experiences, you go to relive it, relive it again. And if you look at our history, whichever part of our history you want to look at, particularly when you are looking at the political history, is written in red. That red is blood. So there is no way we can't pretend that it's not there. It's there. We are talking about people who have lost their life. They are human beings. They are part of us. They are part of our history. Sometimes I think we need to have the courage to go there and dig it up again and heal ourselves from there. Because the alternative, what is it? The alternative is we just begin to cover it up. Then one day it's going to become a pyramid, flip upside down, it's going to collapse on us. So I think it is important that we know our story, but we also own our story. Now, what do we do after that? We use our story to transform our lives. We shouldn't be afraid of what has happened to us because that is what makes us who we are. So I wanted to speak more on that. Then we'll move into marketing just now.
Understanding your story and understanding where you come from. And it's so important because, as I mentioned before, it's really, I left who I was behind. It wasn't necessarily shame, but people didn't really talk about it. So when you're in a professional space, you don't want to talk about it and bring it up. It hurts other people more, I think, than it does me because I've healed from it. But I bring it up to understand it and to relay it in the story. And if we don't acknowledge our past and we don't live in that, we don't have to live in that anger and that fear. And coming in as a person who started to take things like Reiki or meditation and teaching, maybe singing bowls or meditation to people and to really in tune with their self-being, learning that helped me heal. But I also realized that I can't allow other people to heal or help other people to heal if I don't heal myself. And that's a fine line. And I think really for me to say that, hey, I want to help other people, but helping them is healing myself first. That's how I help, because then that way I'm not going into the store with the pain every day. If I go into the grocery store and I'm upset and I'm sad, that energy just expounds. And I know for me, I feel it when other people are down or other people are angry or things like that. But it's really acknowledging my past and what I know to be true or understand and reading more history and understanding it. But I can't relive that. I think acknowledging it is one thing. Taking accountability for my own actions is one thing. Forgiveness is huge. Really forgiving yourself, myself, and allowing others, forgiving them, but not forgetting the circumstance. So I learned from the lessons. And I think for me, that has been very important, is not to hold on to it, especially the mentality I had and the guilt and the shame of where I came from or whatever. But you have to be thick and hard, and that anger fuels, right? And that anger gets you through things. And there's a way to channel your anger, and fighting is not necessarily the best way to do it on the street or illegally, but really that was the outlet. And that's why I got into security. I mean, I was in casino security, and I channeled that anger to club goers, drunk people. And there was a way to get that out. But in regular day-to-day life now, as an entrepreneur, how can I do that? As working with a team, I have to channel that anger in a different way. But I have to know what that is and feel it and not get triggered if somebody says, oh, hey, I'm broke. Well, maybe it reflects on me because I have been from that. But really seeing that I have to own my own energy and pain and love and happiness, and I can share it with people at certain times, but I can't take their energy and I can't live in that negativity all the time. It's like watching the news. You did this or this person did that. And it's such the neurosis of constant neurotic blaming other people, right? When we blame or gaslight, and it's mine. If it's not mine, I don't need to talk about someone else's story. It's their story to talk about. And I think that's important. I think if we hold on to other people's stories, and I see that with speakers, on the stage and podcasters, they want to hold on to someone else's story. It's good to share. It's good to learn, maybe have a little laugh because laughter brings up the energy, but you can't hold on to it so bad and the continual gossip, and then it turns into violence or pain or drug life. And I've been there, so I know. I've experienced it with people in my family and experienced it in the community. So really sharing that there's so much that we want to push down, that anger, and push it down. And it's bad to be angry. It's bad. You can't be angry. It's an emotion. It's a feeling. We need to be angry at the time, because you see even children coming up, they hold that anger. Everybody's nice and happy and sweet. Are you really that way? Are you that way all the time? I think that we are passionate beings and we need to express it. Hey, I'm upset with that. Or, hey, we have different ways to do it. I mean, I'm Italian, Sagittarius, and Irish. So from the streets, I've got I'm boisterous, I'm passionate. I use my hands when I talk. But, I'm expressive, and that's the love, that the way I express, and other people express differently. I think recognizing that has been huge, especially for me, is to share that growing up, is to learning it, understanding where I come from, understanding my heritage, but to a point that it helps me, and then I'm not reliving the pain constantly every day, doing shadow work, maybe getting it done, pulling it up and out, and then letting it go, but keeping it in a file. Kind of like a little file somewhere in your hard drive, and you can pull it up when you kind of need to go into that, or pull into that energy into a story you're telling, or if you're writing, you need to have some of that expression and in there. But there's a time and a place for it. It's not every day, all day long.
You're so right, Nicole. You're so right about that. I think that people first need to live before they can talk about life. Because especially if you are in the business of dealing with people, you're going to meet all type of people. Good people, bad people, easy people, hard people, challenging people, happy people, sad people. And in business, sometimes you are going to be able to say, okay, don't come my way. Many people are going to come, especially if you are happy people. Because if you are happy people, the people that are coming to you are not yet helped. Because if they are helped yet, they don't need to come to you. It means you are going to deal with challenges. Now, when we talk about storytelling, you are going to mimic situation. You are going to talk about situation. If you haven't lived it, how are you going to talk about it? When you say sad, do you know what it means to be sad? Like, do you know what it means to lose everything? If you don't know what it means, how are you going to help somebody to reconcile that? Because some people are on the bridge now, they want to jump, that they think that is the end of life. But somebody is going to come down and say, hey, wait, I'll be there. I will prove it to you that you can overcome this. This is it. And the person will come to understand, because he's a human being. You see, I usually say sometimes, when the police want to rescue somebody who is about to jump down from 10-story building, they don't go there and say, hey, I will shoot you. If you do that, the person will jump. Instead, they go there and try to interrupt the mind. Try to say something to that individual and let them know that, hey, it's not over yet. Let's talk about it. Maybe as they are talking, the other friends is trying to look for a way to sort of make sure they rescue the situation. They're not going to make this individual who is about to jump a hero, but they want to save life. And to save life, they need to speak life into another life. For you to be able to do that, you need to have lived, because now you will be speaking from experience. So I think all these are important for us, that we shouldn't waste the story. Somebody said, don't waste the pay, because the pay helps you to become a better version of yourself. An example I usually we give about that is, you look at the diamond, you look at the gold, you see they are shining, right? Go and look at them when they were taken from the earth. They are not shining. They are like every other dust. You see, you are going to put it to heat, to test, to burning. It will burn and burn and burn. Then all the rotten part will go. And then you look at it, oh, wow, it's beautiful. That is how our life is too. If you haven't passed life, a challenging thing, suffering, you are like a baby. You don't know what life is. But if you have passed through this up and down, now you are shining because you can talk, you know the game inside out. So I think that is important.
It's very important, and I see a lot of people in my experience steal those stories. When you look at certain people, I mean, I grew up in that era. There's a lot of the gangster rap. I mean, whatever. It is what it is, but the point is you see these hardened people. you know i I lived with that. I rolled with that. That was my life back then. I'm going with this. It's a hard way. It's a hard life, and they're rapping about what they know. And then you see someone like Will Smith come in, and he's trying to be hard and heavy and put this camo on and be a thug. You never lived that life. You never lived that life. I mean, I grew up with Fresh Prince, but I think about it. Man, I saw more than you did. I dealt with more than you did. I dealt with that. I did that. I mean, I'm not going to rap because I can't rap about it. I can go to a show, but I also can tell that that person is genuine in what they're doing. Whatever you think about the music or what they're saying, it's the point of, did that person really have that experience? Was that a true experience? And it's the same way with healers or people who, I'm a shaman today. I woke up and I'm a shaman. I got a drum. And there's a lot of people I talk with that. I used to have a podcast and I'd have healers on because I thought that was the best way to express, the alternative medicines, to share that with people. But the problem that I had with it was the reality of, you're talking, but you're not doing you're not walking the walk. You don't meditate every day. You don't drum every day. You're really not connected to spirit. I mean, there's Irish shaman, there's Indian shaman, there's shaman, every true shaman, and there's families that have that strength and beauty and that healing power and that way to connect. Even preachers or people who speak at the pulpit. There's a passion and a power to certain ones, but then there's some and you just want to fall asleep because they don't have that love, they don't have that passion, and they don't bring it in. That's where you take that tragedy and the travesty. It's just when they light up and you can feel a spirit coming from them, and you can feel like, yes, it's not just because you're in the moment. And if it's not a real shaman, then you're in a safety zone, you're in a comfort zone. And a real shaman or a real preacher or priest is going to go to the pulpit, and that energy is just going to shake you, and you're going to vibrate, and you're going to feel a change and a shift. And everybody feels that change and that shift. And you have to do, and that's those people who can tell a story, but that's how that they're honestly feeling that story. Have you done that? We see that with Hollywood. Some people can play great roles, but some people can't. I don't want to go to that. It's like, I don't want to see that concert, with certain people. They're not passionate. They're not fun. They're not showmen. And I think when you tune in and turn on, it's a different conversation. It's a different act. And it's mesmerizing at this point when someone comes and tells people how to sing or get on stage. Can you dance? Can you sing? Can you react? There's a Beyonce comes out and she's just full of magic. David Bowie back in the day, he had passion and he had power. People now, it's like, it's so monotone. There's no passion, no power. It's like the life got sucked out of them somewhere. And it's like, this is not fun. It's not funny. It's watching Saturday Night Live now. It's just boring. They don't hit that, right?
All right. Nicole, that is something that you said before. I think I must ask you this before we move into the marketing and the. You said, I left behind what I was. I left what I was behind. Now, why I want you to touch that is, I want you to show to people how you managed to. Because when you share with them how they can also do the same, because there are people that are where you were. So by the time you show them how, maybe they can also find a way out. Please share with us.
Oh, sure. Thanks for that. I mean, really, it's leaving it behind that the pain and the struggle behind. I mean, it wasn't just an overnight thing. I wish it was. There was some magic pill, but that didn't help either. But it was really the personal accountability to say, this is my life, and I have to make a choice to be in the anger and the pain and move forward. And that recognition to say, the goal that I'm going to set for myself in life is to change and to be the magic being I'm meant to be. But that's years and still years of work to say, meditation. For me, exercise is important. Getting outside, getting out of my head, not being in the computer all day, going to run, going to the gym, meditating, maybe being in with some people who are, your 5 closest friends, whether you're healing or you're in business, it's very important. So it's to be around other like-minded people. The change. I'm really getting off the street. I got off the street to go back to the casino to be a security officer years later, and I'm still in the pain. I'm still in the anger, and I'm still in the hate. You can't just wipe it off and shower it off and go home and not have that pain be with you. So to make a choice, where did I want to be? Where can I be the most effective? And feeling that there was a mission and a purpose, and opening up to say there is much more than here on this 3D planet. But it's a struggle sometimes. It's really a struggle, because when I see things, I kind of, every now and again, even in the post-traumatic growth, I feel like, hey, something will snap, and I'm like, I just want to fix it. But you can't fix somebody and just punch them in the nose, right? I mean, that's not the healthy way to do it. So I'm more of an open person, and I can say, hey, I don't like your behavior, but I'll say it jokingly. Like, hey, maybe we shouldn't be doing that right now in the middle of the Walmart, okay? Not being nasty and calling someone out, but saying something to someone like, hey, maybe you're a little too close, or hey, would you not push your shopping cart into me? But it's the ability now to not only speak my truth, and I've never been afraid to do it, but it's doing it in a more gentle, kind way than being nasty or patronizing, because I don't want to be spoken to that way. And so I think people are more adept, and that's, again, being a person of influence to shift that conversation. And I had learned that, hey, back to the roof, learn that in that moment. How can I speak to this person at this time, and speak in a way that I can get them, maybe not necessarily touch them, but get them out of the mindset of jumping off that building, because it's kind of like, you're not only affecting you, you're affecting me, you're affecting the people down there. And so if you're telling me that it's about you, it's not just about you trying to commit suicide. It's about everyone around you, your family, the casino, all the people at the casino. I mean, they're going to have a bad day, and then we got to call in people to help them heal, and then we got to pay money. I mean, it's just an expanding huge toll for one person, and just the amount of lives that it affects. But seeing that and saying, hey, I've never been at that moment where I wanted to do that, but saying, hey, I have experienced the sadness and the pain, and I can see where this person is right now, and understand that I don't want to be there. I don't want to be the one they talk down or out of, something like that. And that kind of starts to click and say, hey, that person I'm only this far away from that moment. And saying, hey, that's not okay. It's not okay to be in that moment for yourself. Where do those thoughts go in a critical manner? For me, it's, where do those thoughts go? Where do my thoughts go? Where does my energy go? And where do I go physically, mentally, emotionally? That I would put myself on that border. Because I think sometimes if you are adrenaline junkie, and now I'm realizing that, hey, I was an adrenaline junkie in a different way, that I want that adrenaline, I want that moment. And I'll do whatever I can to get that moment. So where can I stop myself to have fun and to feel that experience and that energy, but not in a crazy form, not in a form that's going to affect everybody else in my life. And how do I do it? So it's really going back to the I am, to me, and saying, hey, how can I fix myself? And then I'll be the change, and people will see that change, and maybe they'll want that instead of trying to push it on them, because I don't want it pushed on me.
You are a better version of yourself now. So that is how you help people too. Thank you for that.
Absolutely.
Now, tell me, what do you do within the area of marketing? Let's spend some time there.
So with for a cause marketing, it's really taking speakers, and again, back to the cause. So in a nonprofit like the one that I work with, when you have a nonprofit, people don't just drop a bundle of money on your doorstep and say, here, you have a nonprofit. I want to give all my money to you. Do whatever you can to help the domestic violence victims in our case. So how do we market that? It's called for a cause because it's the cause. So the cause for domestic violence is obviously domestic violence victims. And how do we help them and their families? So your cause in for a cause marketing can be, I want to raise money for kittens and puppies. I want to buy kids shoes. I want to buy everybody a brand new pink fluffy dress. Whatever the is in that cause is. And so taking that cause and not only marketing for it, but bringing in money. Because the people that do the job in the nonprofit or can be for a cause. I know many people who have don't have nonprofits, but still raise money for communities, like in Ecuador and Tulsa Blue Mountain. They raise money for their community, and all the money from the healing retreat and that people donate goes right to the community, but they don't have to deal with the nonprofit paperwork, which is kind of a pain. But, so in that, we market, sharing with people how to market maybe 3 months ahead for the cause that they have, and share with them that if you charge speakers or sponsors and you charge attendees, that money goes for the payment of the event, and then it comes back to the cause. So you're donating. People want to donate, but they want to know where their money's going. So what a better way? In February, we have one on the 13th. We're having, it's a teen dating. It's a teen dating month in February. And so we're having kind of like a seminar of not only how to, have a healthy relationship, but being able to talk about the relationship. So talk a little bit about the pain, talk a little bit about the growth, and how do you fix it? So bringing the pain point, which is maybe teen dating violence, and bringing the solution. And that solution is, how do you have post-traumatic growth and have a positive, healthy relationship? Like me, I didn't have healthy relationships in my life, whether it was in my home or on the street. I didn't have healthy relationships. So nobody physically showed me. So we're going to show people, yes, we'll have handouts. We're going to talk about it. And there's some people that have gone through those issues and sharing how they had that growth. And when you have that growth, that's a solution. It might not be your solution, but here's a few tips on not only the solution. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life, but we'll tell you how you can do it and show you that it can be done. And I think that's important too. And then that we'll start raising awareness. So our next event, we'll be charging for that. And so sharing that is that for a cause marketing. Marketing is we're marketing the event. We're marketing the cause, and we are marketing full circle, before the event, during the event, and after the event. So sharing with people, have a podcast. That's public relations, getting out there, putting information out there, sharing tips and tricks with people. And then at the end of it, when we raise money or whatever the funds we raise, now sponsors see, or people that want to donate, see where their money is going. There's a money trail. And people like that. I think that's a healthy way to do a business, because a nonprofit is that. It becomes a business. There's money in and money out, so there's money flowing. And how do you raise money so you're not just knocking on strangers' door and begging for a handout? They want to see what you're doing with their money, and it is a cause. And you share that. We share that with our virtual events, whether they're on Zoom, on Microsoft Teams, or in virtual reality. And it's just bringing a community and showing them how they can shine and really tell their story.
Thank you so much for that. Within a more non-governmental organization and that are cause-oriented, there are a lot out there too who are also business-oriented, in the sense of for the profit or hidden. But of course, we also have a lot that are there because they want to promote the good of humanity. We need more of it. Now, You talk about the costs a lot of time. So help me with this. How do you define your course and how do you differentiate it from other courses out there as an NGO?
So when you're really looking at what's your cause and your mission and your purpose. So if we talk about something like confronting domestic violence, the cause is that we want to drive to is the victims. That's the cause. That's the purpose, and that's the mission. And your cause can be, I want to raise tennis shoes for children in the school in San Jose. You pick a school. I went to Cedar Grove. So that's your cause. Your cause and your mission and your purpose is to bring shoes to those children. Well, how do you do that? There's marketing behind that. There's business behind that. There's strategy and structure behind it. And how do you get that done? You have to map out the pain point is that kids have no shoes. My cause is to, and my mission and my purpose is to bring shoes to the children. And then how do I market that? How do I do that in my business? So there's a way to market it. I mean, we're on social media, we're on YouTube, we're on podcasts now talking about it, and that's getting the PR and the public relations out of it. And so what are you bringing there? Where are you sharing? How do you fix that problem, that pain point, and how do you offer a solution? And now there's a cause, there's a being, there's a purpose that I have. My cause is to get those stories out and to have events and to bring those events around the world, because there's a pain point in people coming on the stage, and their pain point stems from the fact that they just don't know the how. They get the why. Everybody's talking about the why. How do they do that? So the cause is to share with them that they can have a stage. Everybody can get seen and heard, tell their story. And how do I market that? Well, I market that by showing them and teaching them. And so that's the mission and the purpose in that.
Of course, there are a lot of people in the NGO who do need this information on how to be able to market their NGO. Because, whether you like it or not, you are going to have to market it. Without marketing it, you are not going anywhere. Mm-hmm. Because like you said, Nicole, nobody is coming with a bag full of money and say, hey, what are the NGO? Come and take money. It doesn't happen like that. You're going to have to sell. Sorry, you are going to have to sell,
Exactly.
All right, Nicole, there is somebody out there, he doesn't know what is meant by evil marketing. How do you describe it to the, I don't want to say dummy, to the simplest of the simplest? What is marketing?
Well, marketing is really getting your brand out there. So your brand is your business. So let's say you have a 16-year-old teenager and she has this really cool dance. She's got these moves, she's shaking, she's moving, she's hopping around, flipping circles, whatever. She's dancing. Well, how does she share this super really cool dance to all her friends and all the people around the world? Well, she gets TikTok. She gets TikTok, she does her moves, she does her dance. Everybody sees her TikTok, it goes viral. That is a form of marketing. What better than to look at a 16-year-old girl on TikTok exploding? That's marketing. She's selling her dance. She is inadvertently selling her dance by marketing. She's marketing and she's selling, she's connecting. Marketing and sales have to have a connection to the client. You have to have a connection, whether it's Amazon and you go there, you buy a shirt, that they put it on there. The fact that you just put a shirt up for sale on Amazon is the marketing. It is the marketplace where you go to the market, which is Amazon. You purchase the shirt and now you've made a sale. So it's just very simple. I love to keep it simple. And if it's not simple, I don't want to do it because I'm confused, and a confused mind doesn't buy, and that's the truth. But bringing that out there and saying, hey, that's marketing in the smallest level. You got to get your word out. And back in the day, we used to just put flyers on cars, right? If you were having a show, if you were having a concert, we would just throw flyers on the car, right? And so people would see it and maybe they would go, well, turns out that you end up with a parking lot full of paper, and that's a mess, right? So somebody's got to clean it up, and then you got to recycle it, and it's a whole thing. So marketing at its simplest is selling yourself. You have to sell yourself because you are the brand. You are the brand. You are the brand of this podcast. You are the face of this podcast. And so how do you market? You get in groups. We have a great group, in the Hounds of Business, and we talk to each other, we connect each other. And that is marketing in its simplest form is the networking. And now that you've networked, people know, like, and trust you, and people recommend you. That is selling yourself. You're selling your brand. So coming here and not realizing that kind of brings me back from leaving the street and all that behind and the hustle to come put a different face on, but really not realizing that I'm selling all the time. And who am I? What am I selling? When I go home, when I'm in the store, I can't put a different hat on every time, because if I go somewhere else in public or a restaurant and have a few drinks and I'm a different person. So then if I market myself as someone else falsely and have a mask on, then when someone sees me on a personal level, if I'm doing a Q&A, it may slip off. I'm no longer acting. I'm no longer in that costume. So it's really finding who you are and what you believe and making that your mission and your purpose, because then you're always marketing yourself even off camera. And that's also public relations. Who are you on camera and versus off camera? Are you totally different person? You get me 100%. So that's marketing at its simplest.
You see, in the beginning, we spent actually a good chunk of time talking about you, because I said it is important to talk about you. Because, of course, that is what we do here. We talk about the story of people, their experiences. Now, I think you can correct me on this, that NGO need more story than maybe other people that might be selling products that you can see, because NGO, in most of the cases, they don't see the product that you are selling. Therefore, you need to come with the story. So I'm sort of maybe making it up, no? So where I'm actually going is, what is the role of storytelling in marketing for NGO?
So when you're talking about a non-government organization for marketing, you have to get other people to pay you money. And they're going to sponsor you in faith, in kind. And so you really have to develop a personable relationship. And again, that's selling you, that's selling your brand, and now you're marketing. And that's very important. You're the face of the product. Your team members are the face of the product. And so talking to them and being responsible and having a healthy team and a healthy relationship will show that. It's just like having a healthy home life and a healthy family. People can see that wear on you. And so what mindset are you in and how healthy are you? People see that. They really read you, and that's where that judgment comes in. It's going to come in because we want to know people that can speak our language or talk. Maybe they don't look exactly or speak exactly like us or have our same experiences, but are we relatable in that manner? If you're versing that adversely for an NGO, they want you to look good on paper. And they want you to have, if it is a governmental agency that you're expecting to get money from, it's paperwork. And there is a huge bureaucracy just to get simple things. Even if you're asking for, you're asking for grants. A lot of us ask for grants. We have someone writing grants in our nonprofit. And when you write grants, you have to, it takes months of time because you have to answer specific words and specific languaging, and you probably might not understand what they're really asking for. And it takes somebody basically almost like a lawyer to translate the questions and the answers, and you're never getting the money the same way. And so when you talk about like government grants and things like that, you have to look perfect on paper. Your website has to be great. Your social media probably has to be scrubbed. There's different departments that will look at different things. Even if you're asking for a non-governmental and NGO portion of money, they still want you to sing and dance a certain way. Well, that's all good if you have someone that can take care of that for you, because there's a form and format and it's a mess of paperwork. Now, if you take that back again to a non-governmental organization on the NGO portion of it, if I ask you and you're a millionaire, and you have money, you want a cause, and we have a cause of raising money for tennis shoes for children, then you can relate to that. I can say, hey, would you come here to this school? Let me show you these kids. They don't have shoes. They're running around. Their feet are on fire. It's hot. The pavement's hot. They can't walk very far. They have to walk to the school and back. Their shoes are worn out, and it's causing issues because they're growing, and there's growing pains already. So if I tell you, and as a human, I can talk to you face to face. You're not telling me just go fill out the paperwork. I can talk to you. I can tell you the story. I can kind of get into your passion and your heart and say, hey, as influencing you personally in a relationship, to say, this is why this cause is here. This is the passion I have for this cause. And you can see it, and you can see the children, and I can use an example, and I can play on your heartstrings, good, bad, or indifferent. And that's a huge difference, because now I'm selling this to you. I'm selling what I want. I'm selling the cause to you, and I'm selling the pain to you and the struggle of these children in the community. If I'm talking to a government entity, they don't really care too much. They just know they have to put the money somewhere. And then, it's a mess. If we learn to harvest within our community, we learn to knock on our neighbors' doors and get to know our community, we can keep the money here in this community. We can fix the bad in our community. We can fix the crime. We can fix the mental health in our community if we keep our own money here and we talk to each other. If we keep pushing it on the government, we know the government, any government, overspends. They don't have the right budget. They put money anywhere, and half of them are pilfering the money for themselves and putting it back in their pockets. So follow the money. They are not good with money. We are not good as a society. We weren't taught that. I wasn't taught money and finances in high school or in junior high or even college. I had to take business courses to understand that. But if we keep the money and work on the NGO, we keep it in the community or where we want to be responsible. And now we're healing each other, and we're healing our community, and we're getting to know each other, and now we're supporting each other. Now we have no choice but to heal and to be healthy and happy.
Thank you so much for that. That is actually the most powerful part of it. When the project is around the people, about the people, for the well-being of the people, that is why issue exists. Now tell me something. In what way might maybe having a clear understanding of a cause be useful to a business? Say maybe if for a cause marketing, when you know exactly what you are aiming at to change the society, and this is what you are doing your marketing about, whether for NGO or for a pure business, in what way can that be useful or helpful to an entrepreneur or a business owner?
Well, first of all, you want to know as a business owner if you want to truly say you're part of the community, because all these businesses nowadays, maybe Nike, we're in the community. We support, we donate shoes. Well, are you really in the community? But at a higher level, just looking at it quite simply, when Nike donates shoes to the cause of the children in the elementary school, it makes the company look more personable. Corporate structures have become so stoic and so bordered off. There's no feeling in there. You can't even talk to the people next to you in your cubicle. You can't have a water cooler conversation. You can't talk to each other. People don't go out and have a drink after work or go to dinner and make friends anymore. When I grew up in Silicon Valley, that's what we did. That's what people did after they worked at HP. They would go out, they would have a fun day. Well, now nobody really does it. So they're trying to bring the humanity back to the corporate structure. And in order to really see, if you really want people to see that you're truly a good corporation, business, you want to get involved in the community. That's how I started to volunteer as a young girl. My mother worked at HP, and she would go and volunteer for United Way. We would go on marathon runs, or we'd go have picnics, and we would get involved in the community. And now if Hewlett Packard says that they're sponsoring the picnic or the race, Then they're advertising, they're sponsoring. It's not a government sponsorship, it's a corporation sponsorship. Now they can brand that, and they are marketing that community picnic, which is the cause. The cause is the community. The focus is the picnic. The focus is the community nurturing a good relationship, which means that they are now networking with their community, and people are volunteering and doing something good. And so the community will now go buy Hewlett Packard computers because they came to my town. They cooked me some ribs. They shared mashed potatoes and corn with me, and then we played games. So now I'm going to think of Hewlett Packard. It is marketing in a large scope. And when we realize that that's how you market yourself, it's not icky. It's not, you don't have to throw millions of dollars out. You can just sponsor certain events, whether you're bringing a hot dish, you're donating drinks. Hey, I'll say this is sponsored by or Immersive Technologies. I've just paid for your meal, or I bought you a cup of coffee. Now I have a community relationship. And businesses stopped doing that. We used to have fundraisers with HP. We'd go to family picnics. We'd play games. We would have pizza. So they would bring in at Hewlett Packard their family. We would have connection with other family members. And so we were very dedicated to that brand. Hewlett Packard's daughter, one of the daughters of one of the founders, put money into the Monterey Bay Aquarium. That is owned by one of those people. So when you go to the Monterey Bay Aquarium, they have this large aquarium where there's a sanctuary in Monterey in the ocean, which is connected to the aquarium. They go out and they train and teach the community. They teach people, and there's learning, there's biology and marine life and everything. So even at a small sense, there's community. So when you see, hey, Hewlett Packard brought this aquarium here, and they're teaching our children, now I'm dedicated to them. The cause is to share with the community how wonderful marine life is, and the cause is to teach and grow. Well, I know that they fund that. So when I buy the computer, I'm going to buy their computer because that's part of the community. And when we don't tell people, some corporations don't tell people what they do or donate. When we don't tell people that we're out in the community, when we don't tell people where we put our money at, yes, you're edifying yourself, and yes, it's a shameless plug, but you've got to realize, you've got to tell people, because people need to know that you care. And that's how you get back to that involvement, instead of saying, all these rules and regulations in the company that are just nonsensical at this time, because you have too many rules and laws, nobody can follow them, right? You're always breaking a rule at some point, and nobody's happy, and their culture there is miserable. Well, that's because you're not connected to your employees. You're not connected to your employee community. And there's no volunteer organization within your corporate structure. You're not donating and talking about it. Talk about it. Don't just say we do it. Subaru does it on their commercial. We save trees, buy a Subaru. It's their best marketing ploy. And how many people do you see? I see them all the time. Like in Colorado, they buy Subarus like crazy when I was there, because that's what they market to that community. And they put the money back. So maybe you don't have a cause. Maybe you could support one. So you could always just come to an event and just support them by buying a ticket. And that's as simple as that.
Now, you were talking also about networking, because, of course, we cannot do it alone. We need each other. Now, within the area of networking, because now we have the opportunity, the privilege of living in a time where we have internet. I mean, most of the things that we are doing today, we can also actually do it online, because I'm in Italy, northern part of Italy. You are in the US, right? Okay.
Yes.
I said maybe we are just next neighbor. We're talking, no? If you in a fraction of a second, you are hearing me. We are conversing. We're having fun, no? So this is the power of internet.
Yeah.
Now we're talking about virtual reality today. What role do you think that is playing or should play looking into the future of businesses, of engagement that we should have as we try to connect more among people?
Well, thanks for asking that. I think it's important to realize as a society we're growing and moving. Technology is changing. It's our industry now, and it's a movement. It's changing at a rapid pace. It's been here for so long, we didn't want to do it. And so in 2020, we kind of got forced into it. And sharing virtual reality with people is to share that we don't want to one day have to learn to unmute. When we're talking, because we'd never used Zoom before. So having taught people and shared with them in 2020 how to unmute, how to show up on the camera, how to look into the camera, how to be human still on camera and not take that away. It's sharing that as we grow into virtual reality. So your merchandise that you sell now, maybe on Amazon or in your store, you can sell now on virtual reality. Now it's called Verge. VRECH. So it's a short virtual reality merchandise. And that's what that's short for. But sharing with people how they can have income and growth and prepare for what is coming so you're not hit it head on and now your company's gone. And how many of us lost family or company because we were shut down and we couldn't get out and we couldn't function. It was not only maybe the fear and travesty of someone else locking your door, but it's the point of we weren't prepared for that. So if you weren't prepared for that, now let's prepare for it. But also sprinkling the good juju, so the good energy into the virtual space with stages and saying, use it like ChatGPT as a tool, not a crutch, not for your everyday, but learn to use that so you can free up your time. I'm traveling. I went to an event here in Florida and I was in Colorado, went to Las Vegas. I can still do my business online. That's what's wonderful about that. Have laptop while travel. If I have to, I can pick up a phone. Well, now virtual reality is on your phone. It's not just games, but it's a gamified solution for your business. We can have these wonderful connection and an event or music venue, and you can hear music and watch the performers. You can have it live and you can stream it, and you can have a live event in person. Well, you stream from virtual reality, and you see a lot of people doing it with Zoom. But bringing business in there, and it's cheap and it's easy. You don't have to pay a lot for it. You can get a virtual world. You don't have to go buy someone else's virtual real estate. You don't have to pay tens of thousands of dollars like people were charging up to 6 years ago, and I don't know what they're charging for that now. But you can get a portion of that and a world, what we call a world. So behind me, you see chairs and an office space or a lounge kind of area here. Let's just say in virtual reality, you had this set up and it doesn't cost very much. It can cost as much as either 10, 97, $100. So you're not out thousands and thousands of dollars depending on what you have. Now you can have business in there. The great thing about virtual reality, and yes, you can still have a face on most of them and an avatar, but just think of all the money you'll save on makeup, hair, clothing. You don't have to do any of that. You don't have to have a setup. You can come as you are. But virtual reality is great not only for speakers, because you can play video. You can have your courses in there. People can function. And what was really great when we launched this last year, a year and a half ago with confronting domestic violence, victims who cannot show their face, cannot be seen because they're hiding and they need to be safe. Now they can healthily put a mask on and still have a business. They can still speak from the stage. They can still sell their books under maybe another name. They can still sell their merchandise. They can bring their children in here and teach their children a business. There's another nonprofit I work with, and it's Pam Gant Sports Club. And Pam Gant is a VIP basketball player, and she teaches the kids basketball, but she also coaches them and mentors them. And what a fun way she does it in person. And our CEO does that too. And they in Chicago, they go and they play basketball with kids and they coach them. But what a great way to get a little bit of a VIP player, and you're in Italy, I'm in Florida, she's in Chicago. She can get into the virtual place and they can play basketball, they can fly planes, they can connect in a different level. But you know what? If I have to tell you a really heart-wrenching story, if I want to feel safe and protected and I need to confess a story to you, maybe as a coach or a priest or whatever, I can put my avatar on and I can feel comfortable expressing that. And in a sense, you're hiding behind the camera, but you're doing the same thing on a phone call. Nobody sees you. So when we're talking about engaging community and networking, we're just trying to open a different level of space. I mean, and if you look at from an alternative healing method or dimensional methods, and people say the matrix a lot, but many healers talk about entering a different dimension. So if you're meditating, and when you meditate or pray, your energy goes into a different level. It's a different dimension. I mean, there's science behind that, but really you're forcing yourself now with virtual reality into that other dimension. And now you can sell from the stage. You can brand, you can have trade show booths, conventions, have a booth there 24/7. People can shop in your fuzzy bunny slippers and your robe. People can buy your goods and wares, your merchandise and all kinds of stuff, and they can go in there at any time from wherever. So if you're somewhere else and you're at a different time zone and my store here is closed, it's open there all the time, and it's not Amazon, it's my store, or it's your store. Nobody else owns it, it's yours.
Now, as we move towards the concluded part of the conversation, I'd like to ask this. Is it possible that you have had some challenges in this your business? It is your coming out from where you were to where you are today. What are some of these challenges that you usually will have in marketing, whether for NGO or for pure business?
Some of the challenges, I think, really is with working with other people is seeing the vision. I've done this way for so long, I have to do it this way. That doesn't make sense. And so that's where I go to always keep it simple. And it's that KISS acronym to say people need to understand at that simplest level and wrap their head around it so they can allow me to assist them or train them and offer the support to get to the deeper level. Do you need to know how your engine functions? I mean, people nowadays, because of YouTube and Google, the information's always there. Well, they're over inundated with the information, and they think they need to understand the why, the where, the how at every moment. You really don't. I don't need to know. I know how an engine works. I've taken an engine apart, but I don't need to know which engine is. I don't need to know what tires are there. I just need to know the car has tires and to put the key in the ignition and turn it. Part of the problem is everybody thinks they need to know because of a DIY, do-it-yourself generation. They think they need to know and understand and apply every little part and piece. Well, if you want to know that, go watch a video. I have videos. Other people have videos. Listen to podcasts. Get an understanding and a theory of it. That's good. But you don't have to understand it. Sometimes you have to be able to trust the process. Is it getting done? Is it getting done on time? What's your schedule look like? And really another one that leads me to the second biggest part is really, and I spend a lot of time with my clients so they can have an understanding and I can find out where they are, what they understand and what part of that responsibility they have and I have. But also, understanding the simplicity and the ability to get on a stage on the virtual aspect. And it is a pay to play. So, you have to network. It's time or money you're giving somewhere. So if I'm on a podcast that's free, that's still time. That's which equals to money. And then if I want to write a book, that's time and money. So understanding the functionality. Yes, Zoom is free. But it does take a cost somewhere, whether it's energy, utilities, lights, you're paying for your clothing, your makeup, your hair, whatever. There is a cost to it. So it's a pay to play business. That doesn't mean you have to gouge your customers, but it does mean that there has to be some reciprocity in it. And I think for me, that's where affiliation comes in. That's where the marketing comes in. That's part of the magic of it, is to affiliate your products so everybody gets a portion of the money and the people that are sharing with their people are getting a portion. And that leads to, are you talking to your groups? What kind of following do you have? You cannot charge $500 for a speaker to your summit if you have no following, because that speaker is looking to get the leads, generate the leads, and connect to an audience so they can market. And so it's the reciprocity and the movement of the cogs and the wheels in the machine to get to it, that there are simple steps and a strategy you have to take and get to. So I think it's like anything else, really. It's, are you going to be accountable as a host? Are you going to be accountable and actually play your part in it? Or are you going to pay to have it done for you? So you have to figure that out. And I think a lot of it is sometimes the commitment of doing it. There's people that know the game, and then there's people that we're teaching how to use it. And that goes into the virtual space. It's easy enough. You just got to be willing to listen to a little bit of coaching, get a little nudge sometimes, and take the accountability steps to actually doing it yourself at some point.
Yeah, that is a good one. You're going to have to push yourself sometime, because we can't do everything for you. The coach cannot do everything for you. So that is really a good point. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. Now, for people that want to learn more about you, they want to connect with you, what is the best way to reach you?
The best way to reach me is either on LinkedIn, or they can email me. LinkedIn is the easiest. I think it's really more professional. It's easy connection. And so they can share. It's Nicole Borghi. And it's Nicole Borghi, anything, my website, my email, everything. just so it's easy to find. It's one name. It's just a lot easier. So I'm out there on LinkedIn. Just reach out that way. And I love to talk to people and collaborate and kind of get to know them, get on a call with them, and just see, how we can work together, because it goes back to the mission, the purpose, and the cause. The connection. How can we work together to get your story and your words out? Or how can I help you, or market for you, or share your great, wonderful story if I don't know about it?
Now, how would you like to conclude this conversation today? It has really been very intense and powerful, full of value. And I thank you so much for that. How would you like to conclude it?
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. It's been a great conversation, and I just want to thank people for listening and just being part of this, because this is one of the steps in movement of the change. And thank you for doing this.
Thank you so much, Nicole. I appreciate you. And of course, for all of you that have listened to the end of this conversation, we say thank you. We appreciate you. We're not taking your time for granted. But you see, this will really be a valuable information that is shared for you here for free. All for free. And I think Nicole was saying that nobody's going to force you to take action, because action is what changes the thing. There is something I used to say a lot in my books, particularly the books that have to do with maybe non-fiction writing. I usually say towards the ending of it, if you don't take action, it's just going to be the same, as if nothing has happened. But if you take action, something is going to change. But the taking of the action is up to you, not me. I've taken my time to read, to write the book. I've got it to your hands. That is where it ends. From there, moving forward, it's up to you. So Nicole came here. She have delivered valuable information to you. It have got it to your doorstep. That is where it ends. From there on, it's up to you. So make sure you take action, and make sure you reach out to Nicole. She can help you. Thank you so much for listening again. Thank you so much, Nicole.
Thank you.